One of the questions I get asked the most is, how do you balance everything? For context, for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Lamade. I am a banker by day. Obviously, I do social media. I create content on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm actually currently at FinCon in Orlando, Florida. So FinCon is basically a conference, a 4-day conference for financial influencers. So I'm having so much fun here. I am also an international property investor, and I have to add the international part because currently it's taking up a lot of my brain space as well as a lot of my time trying to figure out this international property scene. This time last year, I was actually also doing a course at Harvard Business School. So that added an additional 15 hours of studying every single week. I have an online store where I sell digital products. I'm also obviously a daughter, a friend. I balance a lot of things. It's been something that I've been doing for a long time. And so in this video, I want to share with you guys some helpful mindset and practical tips for anyone who is either balancing a main hustle and a side hustle, your full-time job and studying or working or wanting to start a side hustle. I actually have a longer version of this video available for free on Skillshare, so I will leave the link down below. For most people, the first hurdle to climb over is realizing that you actually have time to do things. You just don't know where your time is being allocated. And we're going to do a mathematical, logical exercise just to show you guys how much time you actually have. I'll be using myself as the case study, but you guys should obviously adjust these calculations for yourself. So what we're going to do is I call it like a free time finder. My friend actually showed this to me, but I'm going to start with a total of 168 hours because that is how many hours we have in a week. I'm going to deduct 49 hours because I like to sleep a minimum of 7 hours a day. That's going to leave me with 119 hours. So what we're trying to do here is deduct everything that we do usually and trying to see how much free time we actually have in a week. Now what we're going to do is deduct the amount of hours that we dedicate towards our full-time commitment. So for me, it's work. Like I said, I'm a banker. So for me, that will be 12 hours. 12 times 5 is 60. So I'm going to deduct 60 hours from 119, and that is going to leave me with 59 hours. So outside of my main hustle, outside of my main job, I have 59 hours to dedicate towards building something on the side. But obviously life isn't that simple. You don't just go to work and then go home and then spend all those hours working. So I'm even going to take another step further, and I'm going to deduct an additional 14 hours because you just have 2 hours a day where you're just doing stuff that you just can't plan. So let's say I have 45 hours spare in a week to dedicate towards my side hustle. 45 hours is a lot of time, and no one is saying that you should dedicate that entire 45 hours towards your side hustle or towards working, but it's just an example to show you how much time you actually have. So you might even be deducting more from your time, and that might leave you with even less hours. But even if you just have 10 hours a week, that is 40 hours a month to build something. If you perform this exercise, you should actually realize that you actually do have time. Next thing that I use to my advantage is working hour strength. So the 9 to 5 structure is just an estimation basically of when are people most productive. So most people are not as productive before the hours of 9 o'clock, and most people, the productivity starts to decline post 5 p.m. Your job is basically designed to take you at your best hours and then leave you to be at home when you're the least productive. That's literally the way it was designed. But you can finesse this system by understanding what your working hour strengths are. So this just means that when are you the most productive, and whatever that time is, trying to take back some of those hours. So for me, I know that I am most definitely a morning person, and so what I try to do is, if I know that I'm most productive in the morning, I'm going to try and take as much of my morning back as possible. So for me, what that looks like is waking up at 5:30 on most days and getting started on my own stuff before I actually go to work. So everyone is different. So the key here is to really understand yourself and understand what your working hour strengths are. For example, if you're an evening person, maybe what you actually want to do is start work, like get to work maybe like an hour early and then finish an hour early so that you can get home in the evening and then keep your evenings and keep more of your evenings to yourself. What I do is take those two things and I put them into a Google Calendar or any sort of calendar. I like using calendars because you can actually see the 468 hours that you have in a week. I block out the time for my job. What I actually did was I took the 45 hours that I said I would have free, and then I think about like all the side hustles that I have and how much time they take. So for me, YouTube is one of my most time consuming side hustles, and so I say I'll probably spend around 50% of my free time like doing YouTube stuff. I'll do 45 times 50 times that 50%, and then try and schedule at least 20 hours into my calendar where I'm working on YouTube. Next thing that is absolutely crucial if you're trying to manage multiple things, if you're trying to build up your multiple streams of income, is your organization. Like, your organization needs to be on point. I used to organize my life is Notion. I've spoken about this app over and over and over again, but here we go again. I'm going to talk about it again. I literally use Notion as like my virtual life. Like, literally my virtual life is on Notion. All the buckets of my life are in there, and I kind of break it down into the different focus areas. If you are someone who is trying to do something outside of a full-time job, you need to understand that you're doing something that the average person doesn't do. You're doing something that the ordinary person doesn't do. So you're going to need an elevated level of organization. You're going to need to do the extra to be able to carry this out effectively. So even if it's a physical planner that you're going to use, or pen and paper, you need to get something to really help you organize your life. Another thing that I really want to touch on here is a sustenance routine, okay? If you are trying to, like I just said, build something outside of the ordinary, if you're trying to do something that the ordinary person doesn't do, you're going to need to maintain yourself in a way that the ordinary person doesn't maintain themselves. And so I highly recommend having a sustenance routine within your daily routine. You need to be doing something every single day that replenishes you so that you don't end up burning out. I always say this, like, I have never experienced burnout before, and that is because I take time every single day to replenish myself. I think I have around like 5 to 7 habits that I want to complete every single day. And these are activities. It's basically daily self-care. So it's physical things, it's mental things, and I kind of track that as well in my Notion. And I honestly think this is like one of the most important parts. Like, I know, like, when you watch videos like this, you always want to know the practical parts, but realistically, a lot of people do that for about 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, and then they fall off. A quote that I actually heard today, I think, or that I absolutely love: if you can do what most people won't do for 2 years, you will have what most people can't have for the rest of your life. So if you really enjoyed this video, definitely check out the longer version on Skillshare. It should be, you can sign up and then get Skillshare free, maybe for like 30 days or something, and then you can cancel it after you've taken the class if you want to. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.